Music Matters. Today I'm here with Philip from Volksgeist. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, bro. I just ate like 3 brownies, so
Three?
yeah, I'm gonna be on a sugar high right now.
That's the way to do it. Sometimes I used to eat like cake in the morning, but
Hell
not
yeah,
like
dude.
cinnamon rolls. Like I would eat like actual cake.
Like birthday cake.
Yeah, like birthday cake and shit. Like,
That's pretty valid. I'm trying to
yeah.
get off the sugar addiction, but I'm still in it right now.
My bad thing right now is the coffee addiction.
Oh yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
bad. It's bad.
Yeah, I had to get off coffee when I realized I would like wake up in the morning and I would just be stupid until I had coffee.
That's kind of at the point I'm at. Like I wake up and I don't feel like myself until I take a sip of coffee. And at that point, it's like no different than like a drug addiction. So
Yeah, yep. Yeah.
all right, man. You just hit 300K. First off, congratulations. But second off, how's that feel?
It feels like I want 400. There's always like every subscriber milestone kind of like disappears immediately, and then I feel like I have to get the next one to feel accomplished. So right now I want 450. I
Are you
feel
kind
like
of a
450 is
perfectionist?
like yeah, I guess you could say that, yeah. It feels like 450 would be like the next valid achievement. But then I remember back to 2.5 years ago, I had like 700 subscribers, and I was like, yo, 800 would be legit. So that was like kind of how it goes.
Is 450 your goal for this year?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What was your goal for last year?
300. So I hit
Oh, so that one got
it.
smacked. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you first started making video essays, were you watching video essays before, or was it something you just kind of picked up and you're like, okay, I'm going to start doing this, but you didn't really know anybody else doing it? I was wondering if you had any kind of inspirations in the music video essay world.
So when I started, it wasn't really a thing. Like I started in the spring of 2017. It just wasn't really a thing back then. There was like Captain Christian, who's like a legendary guy,
Mhm.
but he was the only one. And then I just wanted to make videos like he did. I really wanted to be like him. And a couple years or a couple, I guess like a year or two in, I started to like meet other people like Polyphonic and Middle Eight and those guys, and they kind of do exactly what I do. And the funny thing is, we all started our channels in the same month in the same year, and it took us like a year or two to get big, and then now we're all like at the same kind of level. Um, and but at first, it was really just I wanted to like copy Captain Christian.
That's kind of crazy. Do you know if those guys also took influence from Captain Christian?
Yeah, they did. They were like exactly the same way that I was at the time, just wanting to like do what Captain Christian did.
So he really kind of pioneered that whole genre.
Yeah, and I would say now there are a lot of YouTubers like him, or at least there are a lot of YouTubers who like follow his blueprint, like Jake Zeman and a few other people who I don't really know as well, but I think we all came from that. We all came from him at the same time, and we're all kind of like bigger now than he ever was, which is kind of funny.
Do you find yourself feeling like you influence other creators in that way, almost in the same way that Captain Christian influenced you?
There are definitely people that rip off everything I do. And they're like super there are a lot of channels that will like either try to copy my visuals or copy my format or whatever it is. And no one has really done it to where I'm not like, oh damn, you could have done it better. Like I haven't really been impressed by anyone's copy, but I'm also not gonna like go out and have beef with people because I started as a copy and took me like 2 years to find my own style. So how am I gonna like make fun of someone who does the same thing but with me? So
So it doesn't really frustrate you?
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I feel honored. I feel like it's kind of goofy, but I'm not frustrated because I kind of get where they're coming from.
Yeah, I think of music like that a lot. I think of music as like it nothing creative vision doesn't really happen in a vacuum. Like something is a recreation of something else, which is a recreation of something else. So
Yeah.
when I hear people talking about like, for example, bands like Greta Van Fleet, when
Yeah.
people talking about bands like that, as much as it's very clear that they are 100% a clone copy of something else, in a lot of ways, you have to have influences. Not always to that degree, obviously.
Yeah. I
They're
mean, I
kind
think
of
people laugh at them because they're so unoriginal, but I mean, every band is kind of unoriginal. Like no one does anything for the first time.
Did you hear their new record?
No, I didn't. I saw it though.
I went into it and I was like, all right, maybe they'll reinvent something. Maybe they'll do something. No, they did not do anything
No,
different.
it's
Yeah,
terrible.
it's disappointing. How'd you learn to edit? When did you start editing?
Well, I started editing. Well, the first video I ever edited is the first video on my channel, and it's still up today. And it's really bad. And it took like weeks for me to make because I had no idea what a keyframe was or what After Effects was. But I just really learned by, again, like copying people. Like there was an old political commentary channel called 1791. Um, and I like copied his edits so hard. I would do them, I would change things, but like I just really wanted to know how to get his aesthetic. And he's probably one of the biggest inspirations on my channel. And then years later, I actually found out that he was like my age, like a year older than me. And we only lived like an hour and a half away from each other. So now we go out and get drinks and stuff sometimes, or go out and like go on double dates with our girlfriends and stuff. And it all started because I was like ripping his shit off of like YouTube, trying to figure out how to do his style. So that's really like how I learned, is just taking from a bunch of other channels and just like making shitty versions of their videos until they got good enough for people to make shitty versions of my videos.
I love 1791. That guy's a genius. His like just the way he strings together points, I've always thought is just so compelling. And I can
Yeah.
definitely see like where you guys present yourselves in a with a demeanor that's similar in a lot of ways, in the sense that you're very composed, I would say, if you know what I mean. And it kind of gives your essays, in my opinion, a bit of like a almost like intoxicating feel. Not intoxicating, I would say, but more like just calming, soothing.
I always hope that people like the way I talk, because I don't present information like a lot of other YouTubers do. I kind of am like, I don't want to say like a newscaster, but I'm definitely not there to like flub my sentences and say shit like, oh, you know what I mean, or I guess, or like I want to say it like I know what I'm talking about. And that's like super important to me, that I can like, I don't know. I guess I just don't want there to be clips online of me being stupid. So I like make sure that I know what I'm going to say. And it's important for me that I don't like fuck up my words or anything like that. So
I get that too, because also when you're in a position like yourself and you present yourself in a way where you're trying to not only entertain people but also provide people with a form of education in a lot of ways, people on YouTube will take every single chance they can to jump on you and say you're dumb and say something you
yeah.
did something wrong. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
know another creator that does a similar thing to as you do, and I saw this hit piece video about him, about a video essay he made, and this guy was just tearing him apart for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, I don't have any of those yet. I suspect that I will at some point. So I kind of like clear my back catalog every few months. I'll go in and like delete videos that I think don't reflect, or I just wouldn't stand by them anymore. But yeah, I mean, like, I made a mistake in my Freddie Gibbs video that I just made last week. I said like, oh, Madlib. I meant to say Madlib doesn't work with too many rappers these days. But I said like Madlib doesn't work with too many producers.
Mm.
And the video had like an extra 150 comments saying, "Oh, you idiot! You meant to say rappers." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I fucking obviously meant to say rappers, but I didn't. So it's like too late now." Um, but yeah, I mean, that kind of, I just wouldn't want there to be like that much, because you know how like people make edits of like Keemstar saying creepy shit. I don't want
Yeah.
that to be my reputation.
Yeah, but
YouTube
you're
isn't
not
gonna last.
Keemstar.
Yeah, I know. I just mean like if I went in and I went like, "Oh, here's my first reaction to the new Young Thug mixtape," and then I said something that was like stupid, and then I uploaded it. YouTube isn't going to last forever, and I don't want there to just be clips on the internet of me just being an idiot when I was like 20 years old.
Mm.
When I'm like 60, I don't want to be reminded of that shit. So I try to like keep my composure online.
And I don't blame you. People are literally so quick to jump on you. Like I saw this comedy sketch one time, and the comedian was talking about hate comments, and he was talking about the kinds of people that leave hate comments, and he was saying, "Do you think Michael Jordan leaves hate comments?" And it's
No,
like,
he does
no,
not.
he doesn't have time for that shit. It's like it's people generally, I would say, a lot of the time it's people who are unhappy with themselves and manifest that in other people. They want an escape.
Yeah, it's true. I actually have been getting a lot more toxic comments than normal lately. So I've been kind of feeling like maybe people are stressed out right now or something, because it's like the end of the college semester or some shit. People have been being extra rude online. And I think it's like maybe reflective of what they're going through in real life.
So did you, when you started editing, did you start on After Effects and then start working in Premiere, or do you edit and make all your graphics in After Effects?
I make all of my graphics in After Effects, and then what I do is when I do like a transition, that's different compositions in After Effects. So I'm rendering out the different compositions and then combining them in Premiere, and I'm doing like different whatever like plug-in transitions and stuff usually. So I do like Premiere will be. I also have to like mix the audio and do the soundtrack in Premiere too, because you can't really do that in After Effects. So that's kind of like Premiere will just have a bunch of rendered out MP4s, and that's really it. There's nothing else, no like graphics or anything in Premiere.
And you're completely self-taught? You taught all your stuff this?
Yeah, I went to college for like a year and a half, and I was doing political stuff and like environmental classes, and I've never done media in school or anything like that. So yeah, this is all from YouTube and like Skillshare and stuff like that too.
Was that community college or university you went to?
It was community college.
And then, so you're not enrolled anymore?
No, I'm not. I'm thinking about going back, but um I think because of the pandemic, a lot like university is a lot less fun right now, so I don't think I would, just from like an academic standpoint, I don't feel like going and paying to like go to Zoom school. So I'll probably wait like a year or two.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And you're 21, right?
Yeah, I'm 21.
Yeah. So I'm 19. I'm in community college at the moment, and I just couldn't. Excuse me, my lord. I just couldn't get myself to pay or take student loans out
Don't
to
do it.
stare at a Zoom screen. I'm like,
Don't do
what?
it.
Why?
It's not worth it. Everyone I know is like either taking a break or working like one of my friends went to be a farmer for the year. My brother got a job in like a kitchen. He's not going to college this year. Like it's not worth it right now.
There's no point. So after high school, you started, just to be clear, you started Volksgeist when you were in high school, correct?
Yeah, I was in high school. Yeah.
So then after high school, were you at a point where the plan was, okay, I'm going to pursue this while doing community college?
Yeah, pretty much. I was gonna like do community college during the day, make videos at night. And I was hoping to I just wanted, I don't know what, I wanted to like do community college for a couple years, and then I thought I was gonna like transfer to a full-time university, and I was gonna like, I just had no plan actually. So that's why I like jumped at the opportunity to do YouTube. Um, because I didn't want to go to I just didn't want to go to college. Like I thought it was frustrating, and uh, I don't know if it was the community college, because community college can kind of like suck a little bit because you go in there and like 99% of the people are like 18-year-old girls with babies, or like guys who are there because their parole officer told them they have to be. At least like in the city where I used to live, it was like that, and it was hard to focus. And I was like, oh, this kind of sucks, but I'm not going to go pay like 20 grand a year to go to a state school. So
I get it.
I've
Do,
just always thought there's so many different ways to make money that you don't really
mm.
have to go to college if you don't want to.
And did you always have that mindset, or did you get that once you started Volksgeist?
Well, I kind of like Volksgeist gave me the confidence to like take risks and not do something if I didn't want to do it, I guess. Pretty much.
So after you graduated high school, when did it become the point where Volksgeist was becoming like a viable career option?
Well, I left high school in 2018, and I got my first sponsorship like 4 months after I left high school. And that was like, they gave me like $500. And I was like, holy fuck, I can like, I don't know. What did I do with it? I think I just like didn't do anything with the money, but I was like, that was actually the first sponsored video I ever did was Understanding Frank Ocean, which actually went extremely viral, which made the sponsors like want to keep working with me, which was really lucky because I could have made some bullshit and they never would have paid me again. But that was like, yeah, like between whatever June or May 2018 and like September 2018. So not that long that I realized it could be like a viable career option. But at the time, I was also like delivering food. I was like a bicycle courier, and I also had like a job doing some marketing stuff for one of my friends' companies, like super unofficial. But I was making like money in different ways. And I also didn't really know what I was doing with Volksgeist, so I didn't have a schedule or anything like that. It took a while.
Do you have a pretty strict schedule now in terms of when you roll out content?
I kind of like make as much as I can. I really don't have, because I could be anything from like 3 to 5 videos a month. It used to be 2, but I kind of like figured out a way to work a little harder. So now it's like 3 to 5. Um, I usually try to upload on Thursdays. That's really it. Like it could be, it really varies, but I'm trying to do more shows. Like I want to do a Sunday show. I want to do like a Thursday show and kind of like get that routine really going.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what do you think was the biggest turning point in Volksgeist? So once you had once you got a couple sponsorships and you were kind of starting to climb the ladder a little bit and you started seeing this as more of a viable thing, what was the big turning point when stuff really started to get bigger?
The biggest thing that I think was, well, I kind of like the only reason Volksgeist is successful is because of Anthony Fantano. Um, and so I was doing it as a hobby while in school, obviously. And Volksgeist was kind of like dead. I had like 5,000 subscribers and it was just kind of like, wasn't really going anywhere. I didn't know how to make a viral video because I was like 18 years old and really didn't know shit about video production or like creating viral videos. This is also like 3 years ago, so or like 2 years ago. So like video production online actually wasn't as big as it is now. I feel like because of like TikTok and everything, there's so many more videos than there used to be, but it wasn't really the case back then, especially also because video essays didn't really exist. Like there were only 4 video essayists. So in general, I just didn't know what I was doing. And I was kind of like, oh, I should probably like pay more attention at school. So I'm just going to stop making these videos because they make me like 20 bucks a month and no one watches them. And then I was doing like 2 last videos. I was going to do one about gorillas. And then I was like, oh, I'll do one about Anthony Fantano. Not because I thought he was going to watch it. I just thought that he was cool. And then I made one about him and like I was like, oh, what is Anthony's definition of perfection in music? So I just analyzed that, and he tweeted it out, and he like retweeted it. He asked me, he sent me some DMs. Turns out me and Anthony Fantano lived like 20 minutes away from each other, so we kind of like became friends. Um, and that video I think brought me like 30,000 subscribers in a month, which was obviously it like quintupled the size of my channel in a month. Um, and then I started to grow like progressively. I was like, oh, I could actually hit 100,000 subscribers in a year if I wanted to. So that sort of started to happen. And then Anthony gave me a few more opportunities for work and like collaborations and stuff. So that was like what made Volksgeist possible. I'm not really friends with Anthony anymore. He's kind of like, um, he's like kind of a loner, I guess. So I don't really talk to him anymore. But I also like have 305,000 subscribers now, so I don't really need shout outs at this point. I can like make a viral video if I want to. Um, but yeah, that was around like 2.5 years ago, and that really like turned it around because I was about to stop making videos. So
I totally get that angle from Fantano. Like the fact that like I really do like I could see him not I don't want to say unfriendly is not the right word at all, but I feel like he is a very it seems like he's a very individualistic person from the outside.
yeah, I mean, he's not friendly. Like Fantano is like, I mean, he doesn't do collabs for a reason. Like he's not really that type of guy. I respect him, but I'll probably never interact with him publicly again.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you say you can now make a viral video, is there an art or a method that you go about when you're saying, okay, this aspect of this video could make it go viral? Is that a conscious thing, or did you kind of just throw stuff out there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that I can like take my channel and choose to express myself. I can choose to like make a viral video if I want to. There's like, well, because obviously if you look at the top most popular videos on my channel, if you take like the top 10 most viewed videos I've ever made, they all have something in common. They're all the story of or understanding or a closer look at something famous, some famous album, famous artist. And that is obviously super easy because everyone wants to know about whatever Travis Scott or Lil Uzi is doing. So if I make that video, it could get like 400,000 to a million views pretty easily. I kind of stopped making those though because the thing about views is they don't actually, like, most of my money from sponsors. Sponsors aren't going to pay me per view. They're going to pay me per conversion or per sign up to their website, per how many people buy their headphones, whatever it is. So what is actually important is creating like a good relationship with the people who watch my videos consistently. Because if I make Understanding Travis Scott, I can see how many people who watched it were subscribed to me and how many weren't. If I get like a million views from a video, only like 8% of those people are going to be subscribed to me. I might have like 80 or 90,000 people who will consistently watch everything I make. So the people who aren't subscribed to me aren't going to sign up for the sponsorship thing. So they don't really care. Um, so if I make, something about Daft Punk and it gets like 100,000 views, or if I make something about Frank Ocean and it gets like 1.4 million views, the sponsor is probably going to pay the same exact amount. So I kind of like went away from the viral video thing because empty subscribers don't really mean anything. They actually make me look bad, because if I'm like racking up all these subscribers who are only there for one thing and they don't really care about my art or my craft, they're not going to sign up for the sponsorship. And I just have subs that are like not watching. So I kind of went away from that, but I can choose to make a video and I will like fine tune it with the topic and the writing and the length and everything, so that that could bring me in like 20,000 subs. But I don't really do it anymore because it just wasn't actually increasing my income at all. So I guess that's
So
like a
what
long-winded answer.
what could you do to fine tune it? Like I'm curious as to like what specific so is it literally just like the topic and what it's about, or is there
Well,
more like editing approaches? Like what specifically do you
I
think you could
think
do to make one go viral?
well, the thumbnail, obviously, the title and thumbnail are super important. The topic is really important. More people are going to watch something about Travis Scott than they will like Daft Punk or Lana Del Rey, obviously, because Travis Scott just has like 10 million 15-year-old fans who are like obsessed with everything he does. And, I think at a certain point, I started to feel like kind of bad about that. I felt kind of like, because a lot of my viral videos are like Juice World, The Weeknd, Lil Peep. People watching that are like, I just felt like I was making a kids show at a certain point, because I was like choosing to say something that I might not necessarily believe, but I know that that's what they'll really buy into because that's what I see online. And I was just like mimicking the common perceptions of those artists and stuff. Um, but it is kind of an art form, because making, a well-produced video, even if you're just relaying information about what the fans believe and what like their reputation is about, that's still, I feel like, a form of artistic expression, even if it's not like my own personal beliefs. But yeah, I mean, that's just what like a viral video needs. It just like will have to be like an homage to that artist, just like saying nice things about the artist, making sure that the all of their best songs are mentioned, all their most favorite parts of their personality and stuff. And people, the fans will just go crazy.
So when you look at things like like how many subscribers are converting from specific videos or how many views are converting to likes on specific videos, do you find yourself being having a very analytical approach to how you upload content? Like do you really look into stuff like that?
Not as much as other people. I know guys who look at their analytics like 10 times a day and then like try to fine tune certain numbers and stuff like watch time from subscribers. I don't really, I kind of have like an intuition for that sort of stuff. I can like tell what's good and what's bad, like good numbers, bad numbers. But I think it's a lot about the topic for me, because I'm just like commentating on music. So if I choose some boring topics, even if it's a great video, no one's gonna care. Like I have done before. Like I made a two-part series about Kid A by Radiohead, and it only got like 45,000 views combined, because my audience doesn't care about Radiohead that much. Uh, so I kind of like decided to do that again, but at least for now.
Do you find yourself struggling with that choice of whether to make things that you think will get mass amounts of views or make things that you are genuinely interested in?
I guess I kind of like just go to the intersection of both. Like I'm working on a video about the Lil Nas X Satan shoes, and I am actually interested in that because there's a lot of history to like the satanic panic with music and like heavy metal and all that. So that's like something I am actually really interested in, but I know that it will also get a lot of views. So
So it's kind of a balance.
yeah, I just have to like make sure that I don't make anything really out there, because I don't want to make a video that gets 10,000 views. That would suck.
Yeah, because at that point, why?
Yeah, yeah.
So before Volksgeist, what did you originally want to do with your life? Did you have any plan at all after high school?
Um, well, not really. I mean, I come from like a pretty chaotic and like tumultuous background. I didn't really have like a home life growing up or anything like that. So no one ever told me I had to be anything. just because like I don't know, I didn't really just have role models or anything like that. So at first I was like, oh, I'll do whatever I can, I guess, just to get by. Like take odd jobs and shit, like get a shitty job, just do that forever. Or I was gonna go to college. But now I think I have a lot more direction because Volksgeist has showed me how much you can do with like nothing, like how much you can create from nothing. And so I think this has been like a really transformative experience. Oh, like I might actually be able to use my intelligence to like further my position in life instead of like struggling for years and years, you know?
When you were growing up, do you think music was one of the things that kept you on the right path? Were you like a very avid music listener growing up?
Yeah, I kind of like found out about, well, I I found out about online music when I was like 14. Like the people who, you know, like us, you know, like people who are just into music online, talking about music online. And it was way more primitive back then. Even though this is like 6 or 7 years ago, it was a lot more primitive. And like I would go on 4chan on the music board and I would like read old reviews and just like collect files of music and stuff. But it was a lot different back then. Um, but that was like one of the things that I was really into. And like, yeah, it took a lot of my time and it probably like kept me in a good state and like gave me something to do. So
My mic wouldn't unmute. So in that, what were you mostly listening to during that time?
like Kanye West and like
Mm.
anything obscure. Like I had downloaded a lot of just like all the albums with like famous covers, you know, like the King Crimson albums, the Pink Floyd albums, things that like the Fleet Foxes stuff back before they had even made like Crack Up when they only had 2 albums, like anything weird, like obscure, fucked up music by like people with terrible backstories and like stuff that you can really only find on YouTube. Just like anything I would dedicate myself to just listening to as much as I could and like absorbing all of it. Weird progressive rock, weird folk from the 60s by like people who were fucked up on acid and yeah, I mean, just anything. It was all like, I guess, like 4chan's favorite music, really. Um, Weird electronic music that was just not inviting to listen to at all, but people would pretend to enjoy it because it made them look cool and all that stuff.
Anything on the Mew board?
Yeah, anything on there. I heard all of it.
That's interesting that you said that. The thing that you're saying that people there's music that people listen to that they don't genuinely enjoy, but they think it makes them look cool. Do you
Yeah.
find that a lot?
Uh, yeah. I mean, I think that like it's not so much a thing now because like hip hop is extremely popular and hip hop is fun to listen to. But like 6 or 7 years ago, online music communities were like they would listen to this shitty music and be like, "Wow, it's so abrasive," and I'm like, "Well, you don't like abrasive stuff? Sounds terrible. No one likes abrasive music." But people would be like, "Oh, this is the most obscure German electronic dub music I've heard all month. I love it," and it would just be like some guy like raking nails on a chalkboard and going and like everyone would be like wow and I mean I would listen to it and be like oh this is so deep but in reality it sucked and I'm glad that we don't do that anymore. I mean maybe they still do it on 4chan but it's not popular anymore.
That's yeah, I really resonate with what you were saying because I think that's so true. I think there are so many people who just hate pop music just to hate pop music for with
Yeah.
absolutely no avail. They just want to seem like something they're listening to something different and it kind of creates this elitist complex. And then I think that's part of the reason why I've been a fan of your videos for so long because they really don't gravitate from that place. It's very obvious that they don't come from a place of arrogance and they come from a place of being genuinely interested in hip hop and genuinely interested in pop music. We're and do you think your fan base is people that are like-minded like you, or do you find people in your fan base can be a little bit of that slash Mew board type people?
Well, I'm kind of surprised by them sometimes because I have like a Discord server, and in there they only talk about Frank Zappa, and I appreciate Frank Zappa a lot. Like I've listened to all of Frank Zappa's like readily available music, and I enjoy like most of it. But I'm not gonna like dedicate my time to analyzing Frank Zappa because I just think it's like a dead end because he's dead, and like there's really nothing to be gained from creating content around Frank Zappa. But they kind of like, you know, a lot of the viewers will DM me and be like, "Can you talk about Frank Zappa? Can you talk about like, I don't know, some like 30-year-old hip hop album?" And I'm just not going to. Even though I like it, I just think that that's not really. the energy that I want to have in my, in my online work.
Do you get a ton of requests like that? Like people asking for you to talk about their favorite album?
Yeah, I would say like 4 or 5 times a day. Someone DMs me or emails me, please talk about like, I don't know. It's sometimes they're good ideas, but it's just like a lot of the requests I get will be like, can you please talk about this rapper who just released his first mixtape and he has like 500K on Spotify? And I really, no matter how good they are, I'm probably never going to do something like that because there's no gain from that because no one will watch it. And that's just like a total waste of time. Uh, that's definitely something I have to say no to a lot, like requests to review mixtapes and stuff.
Can you explain the name Volksgeist? Like when you started it, what it means?
Yeah, so I mean, I wanted to name it something like mysterious and hipster because I just wanted to, and I liked the word zeitgeist, but that was really stereotypical. So I went for Volksgeist, which is just the same as zeitgeist. Basically, it means the same thing. It's like spirit of the people. It's just like, if people like my videos, we'll all have the same Volksgeist, I guess. So that's what I don't really like riff off of it or anything. I don't have like a catchphrase because I think those are goofy, but that's really what it means.
That's interesting. Your process, how long does it usually take you to write a script and then to edit your videos, record vocals? How long does that entire process usually take?
It could be like I've made videos in 2 days, but I don't really enjoy that process because it's grueling. I like to take at least like a week to do a lot of animations and stuff like that. So yeah, I bet say about a week.
And is that faster than when you started? Like, has your workflow gotten faster over the years?
Yeah, I used to take like 2 weeks, and now I can. Yeah, I mean, I can do it in like 2.5 days. So I'm definitely better at it. But that means that I'm on autopilot. So I'm trying to come up with new ways to like innovate the format. So I made that Freddie Gibbs video, which was no graphics. It was all filmed, and I had like paper cutout animations and stuff. So that was like something new, which did take a little bit of time, but I liked it. I can like do more of those.
Yeah, that was really cool. I saw that. That was interesting, actually. I was going to ask you about that. So the process for that, was it, I wouldn't, was it, I mean, I don't know, but would you call that stop motion? Like what you were doing? You were kind of moving the paper around the little board thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I want to do stop motion, but I don't think that was stop motion. I just didn't have time to edit the stop motion because that takes so long.
Forever. Yeah.
So I did like, well, I artificially lowered the frame rate, which gave it kind of like a choppy feel. Um, but it was really, yeah, and I would just go in and like move the papers around, and then in editing, I kind of made it look a little stop motiony. But I don't really have a name for it. I guess it's just like a paper collage thing.
And where did that idea come from?
I wanted to, I don't know, I just like thought of it. I was just like, what if I just did this? What if I did what I normally do, but with a camera instead of with After Effects? I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, I think that's really cool that you're kind of delving into different, not genres per se, but just methods of creating this similar kind of content. And that's one thing that kind of got me really interested in your second channel, because you're doing a lot of stuff on there that's very obviously more like film based, I would say. It has more to do with like cinematography and like, like just like different topics, real world topics. What's your eventual goal with that second channel? Do you want to make that as big as Volksgeist is now?
Yeah, I do actually. I want to make that channel like big. Like I want to have my name up there on YouTube. Um, my plan is to continue like the discussions of things, and I want to get more. I don't know how to describe it. Oh, hold on a second. Sorry. Um, so my plan is to like talk about my perspective on like things that are kind of on everyone's mind, just like going into it and in like a very like diary or journalistic way, or not journalistic but like a journal. I also want to do like, I really want to do segments of talking to strangers, just getting like emotional honesty from people on the street. And I also want to do some like cinematography experiments. I'm probably going to go get a drone um later today so I can like play around with that. And I'm also just thinking about like how surreal I can make it, because I think one of the things YouTube doesn't have is YouTube doesn't really have a blend of narrative fiction and vlogging. Like, I don't know if I mean, I guess like a lot of vloggers like make up segments, but I think I want to do like like if there's a I'm doing a vlog and I'm just filming a sequence and then it somehow becomes like a dream sequence or something. Like that's something I really want to experiment with. Like not sci-fi visuals, but like sci-fi themes. Like what if I had like a conversation with an alien or something like that. And I know that might sound goofy, but I just want to experiment with it because I've done a lot of stuff with Volksgeist that's like very strictly formatted and have structure and stuff, but I haven't really done anything that's like personal, you know. Um, so I can kind of I see it becoming big, and I don't know if it will because I can't see the future, but I know how much effort I can put into it, and I'm going to put in enough effort for it to like hopefully, you know, reach. I'm hoping for like 20,000 subs this year. So
So all this cinematography stuff and all this actual filming with camera as opposed to chopping up and editing stuff, was that something you also taught yourself? Was this completely self-taught?
yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I wouldn't say that I'm good enough to say I can really do cinematography, but
Mhm.
yeah, I just learned off YouTube videos. I got an A6400 Sony camera like a year ago or like 2 years ago, and then I didn't use it much because it was actually I don't know I didn't really like it even though it's really popular. So then I upgraded to the full frame Sony A7S III, and I prefer that a lot. Um, like I also shoot with a VHS camera. I have it right here, so I'll be including some VHS stuff as well in the next vlog. Hopefully, I just got this at Goodwill for like
Oh, cool.
$10, and it works great. So
That's cool.
it's like just that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just kind of want to create like half surrealist, half vlog videos, I guess, about real life things.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Um, one other thing I really want to talk to you about, because it seems to me that you're branching out in a lot of different areas. But tell me about Nebula a little bit. Where did Nebula come from in terms of you guys starting that? Was it an idea that you were approached with? How did that kind of that origin story kind of come to be?
So I'm part of an agency um, called Standard, and Standard is based in New York City. It was started by a guy named Dave, um, who is like the most benevolent and kind evil villain ever. He's like this just great guy. He's so good at negotiating and just coming up with ideas. Um, so Dave kind of like runs the agency. It's grown a lot in the last few years, but I joined with them back with my first sponsorship. They approached me when I had like 30,000 subscribers. So they've seen me grow by 10 times since then. Um, and then the agency has grown a lot too. I think back when I joined, there were 30 YouTubers in there, and then now there are like 115 or something. So around 2 years ago, you know, everyone has gripes with YouTube. Um, it was, you know, I was complaining about copyright strikes. Other music YouTubers were complaining about the same thing. Science YouTubers wanted like a better algorithm, and you know, everyone just wants something else. So we were like, oh, let's just make it. Like we're gonna make our own streaming service, not to replace YouTube because that is impossible, but to like just have a place where, hey, if someone wants to pay like $3 a month to get a better video, or to make sure that the YouTubers actually get paid, or to make sure that they can just see the stuff they want, because there is a lot of like overlap in these YouTubers, like, and you know, not get bombarded with like shitty recommendations from the algorithm that like wants to show you a video of like a guy cutting a fucking piece of jello in half for like 12 minutes and like screaming at the camera. There's none of that on Nebula. Like the whole point is that you can kind of like get what you want if this is what you want, because it's not supposed to ever reach a billion viewers a month. It's supposed to be just people who are like willing to pay for a higher standard. Plus like the documentaries and the originals and stuff as well that are definitely worth the money on their own. So it was just like we kind of all thought of it at the same time because everyone had a problem and they wanted an answer for it. Um, and it was pretty slow at first, but now there are like full-time team of engineers because there's enough money coming in from the user base. We're at like over 200,000 users. So
Wow.
that's like, I mean, most of those aren't from me because I don't even have like 300,000 subscribers, let alone that many people who are willing to pay. But yeah, it's been like I'm very happy with where it's going, and I hope that in like a year or two, I'll just be regularly uploading Nebula exclusive videos in addition to the ones on YouTube, um, just like getting a recurring show or getting a recurring like segment on Nebula exclusively is like one of my goals right now. There are a few people who do that, but it's something that we're still working towards.
Yeah, that because that was something that really interested me too. When you say how big it's grown, because I've been watching his videos for a long time, and ever since you kind of started championing Nebula, I feel like progressively I have seen so many more YouTubers that I watch start to talk about it. Like for example, I watch I'm not sure if you know who this is, but I love this YouTube channel called Zoo Tier, and
Who?
it's just Zoo Tier.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love that guy's channel, and I was so surprised. But I've been watching for that long. I've only watched him for like a month, and I was super surprised when I started seeing him talk about Nebula, and then I was like, how does he correlate to like music creators that I watch? I was surprised there was such a range of content there. So
There are about 115 people on Nebula, and I actually do know Tirzu and I play video games together. So I've known him for like a long time. So we're like we're like personal friends. And yeah, there's I mean like MKBHD just got
mhm.
on Nebula a few weeks ago as well. So there's a lot of people like hopping on there.
Are you guys going out and actively targeting new creators that you think kind of fit the mold that you guys have set forth?
Yeah, pretty much. We're trying to get people who there's it's definitely not like, oh, we just want to get people with the most subscribers. There's no is not invited to Nebula yet, I don't think. But maybe we'll bleep that out. I'm not sure if I can say that, but yeah, I mean, like MKBHD is like, because there are a lot of tech YouTubers who are just like, it's like the shopping channel with them. You know, they're just like on there to promote their referral link. They're gonna like shill any piece of tech that you put in front of them. But MKBHD is like, yo, this guy's videos are crazy. Like he is super knowledgeable. They're so well made. He doesn't just like shill the tech. He actually like wants to understand how it interacts with the world. And that's like perfect for Nebula. Like anything not educational necessarily, because you can really argue like nothing on YouTube is educational. You can argue that too much is educational. Just anything really like thoughtful, anything that approaches something with like an attempt to understand it is kind of like welcome on Nebula.
So it's really branched out in a bunch of different directions from when you started it seems like.
I think when we started it, we had that same mission, but there just weren't as many people on it. There were only when Nebula started, there might have been like 60 creators, so it's like double that now. And a lot of those people that have joined since then are a lot bigger. Like their channels are bigger because we have more pull now because there are more people on it, so it's more worth it.
So when you started it, was it or was it just like a big amalgamation of all you guys being fed up with the copyright policy, or was there other motivations, or was it really just that copyright policy?
I think the copyright policy is really for like the music and movie people because there's I would say like probably like 25-35% of Nebula is like music and movie people. Obviously music and movie people get copyrighted all the time. And then the other half would be like there's a lot of science people, engineering people, um, and like general like education, like studying productivity YouTubers. So for them, I think it's more about like just having an extra place to increase their like production budget, because someone like Real Engineering or like Wendover Productions can use the money from Nebula to hire people to like make better animations. Like Real Engineering used to be like one guy, I think, or like two guys, and now it's five people since Nebula started because they have enough money from the Nebula paycheck to hire like a 3D animator to do like really insane 3D animations for all of the videos. So it's stuff like that that Nebula allows people to just have a bigger budget to make even better videos.
I think that's so cool. What do you where do you see the future of Nebula going? Like what do you know what the end goal is?
I think we're just kind of like taking it as it comes because we're very far ahead of where we thought we would be. So it's hard to make predictions right now. But I believe that, you know, we just want to get more. Right now, it's like, oh, we need like more originals. So we're trying to make more original series and like documentaries and stuff because we only have like one or two per month coming out right now. I think we just want more of that.
I mean, that seems like a good move. That was the whole kind of like the streaming service shtick in the first place. It was like the ones that got the most, the best pushed and the best produced originals kind of rose to the top. I mean, that's the only reason why Netflix is even, I feel like at least, I think that's the only reason Netflix is like even in the same ballpark as competing with like Disney Plus is those originals.
Yeah, Netflix makes so many originals. I feel like they come out with like five new movies every month at this point, at
Would you
least.
guys ever want to branch out to the point where it's not just internet-based creators, it's also people who are doing things that are more based in like the film world?
I think narrative fiction is on the table. We just recently talked about that. And it's definitely something like it could totally happen that someone makes like a short film and it gets put on Nebula. And then we go from there, see how it does. But I think right now that's just we haven't done that before, and no one on Nebula right now is about to start making like films or anything. So maybe if it happens, the possibility is totally there, I think.
Oh, that's awesome. One other thing I really wanted to talk to you about was I've noticed in the past couple of months you've started doing a lot more album review content, like the kind of still shot stuff where you're like talking to the camera and talking about album reviews. Is that a direction you want to go in with your channel, like in addition to your video essays?
I'm not really sure, honestly, because I think if I want to become, I don't really want to be known as someone who does that because I don't think that album reviews are that important to the world. Um, but for a big release, I'm kind of like, oh, well, why not? I could just put my opinion out there. But I do think that I'd rather not become a big album reviewer like Fantano or something like that.
hmm what's weird too is I mean, I this could be speaking completely out of ignorance. I'm not totally sure, but to me it really seems like he did that and nobody else has really found the formula. Like you have people like maybe like Sean C, but that's almost like a different thing. Or maybe like dead end hip hop, but I would argue that's kind of a different thing too. Like it seems like he is really dominated that market of just sitting down and giving your full opinion on an album.
He really is the only person who
Yeah.
like has pulled it off. Sean C does like reactions in the middle of his reviews, which Fantano doesn't do. Um, I guess I would say it's because making album reviews isn't that fun, and Fantano is the only person who really likes it. To be honest, uh, I don't know if that's maybe that might not be right, but that I think that's probably one of the reasons why no one else has come into Fantano's space and ever succeeded. It's because it's actually not. It's like they're also just not that fun to watch. Like I feel like
Mm.
there's only so many opinions people really care about, and in music right now, Pitchfork and Fantano are like the only ones people really give a shit about. So
It's pretty niche too, in the sense that if you make a review of a some obscure indie band, the only people who are going to care about that review is the very discreet fans of that band, and that's coming from somebody who writes music reviews. Like
yeah,
it's very clear that like nobody, and that's kind of a creative struggle that I feel is pretty present too through people who review music. It's reviewing things you're genuinely interested in, and it's reviewing things that people will watch, you know?
yeah. I mean, I think even Fantano makes videos that don't get any views. He'll do the odd like experimental album here and there, and the video will get like 15,000 views, which is like kind of nothing for the amount of subs he has. So that's kind of like part of the game. I think is that he relies a lot on the big releases to
How
actually
did your
like grow his channel.
collaboration with him in the video you did on Earl Sweatshirt, did that come just through the tweet that you were talking about?
Oh no, after that, at that point, I had known him for a while and I actually had the flu. And I was just like, can you please record this for me? And I'll like put it on my channel because I can't record it, but I really want to put it out. And he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I was just like, I had the flu. So that was that. At that point, we were kind of like buds. So I didn't feel nervous asking him for a favor like that or anything. But yeah.
Okay. Um, One thing I want to talk to you about that was something you said that I kind of latched onto was in your the 2010s were a beautiful confusion video. You talked about how SoundCloud rap has destroyed like the corporate music industry, and I wanted
Yeah.
to get your take on that because that's interesting to me that you would say that, especially as somebody who I feel like you really understand that culture probably a lot more thoroughly than I do. So I want to know what you meant by that.
I said SoundCloud rap destroyed the corporate music industry.
Yeah, you said it's trying to.
I was trying to. I
Or
mean,
is going to, something like that.
yeah, I don't think that's true anymore. I think labels have like taken everything and the underground is dead. So I believe now that like the underground is absolutely dead. There's no underground hip hop anymore. Um, Maybe someone will say like, "Oh, I'm just not looking hard enough." But like 3 years ago, underground hip hop was huge. Like
Mhm.
it was everything. Um, but now it's like there's nobody. There are no underground rappers right now at all. So I don't know. I mean, I just yeah, I would say I don't stand by that anymore, honestly.
That's a really weird thing that they kind of like mesh too, because I feel like there's a very discrete map that can be drawn of like the timelines between like SoundCloud rap and like mainstream rap, and they kind of like it was a weird thing, right? Because there was a big time period where the SoundCloud guys and the underground scene was getting the streams, but guys like Migos and Drake and those big name rappers were getting the radio play and they were getting the festival appearances. It was kind of like a weird time where they kind of like intertwined a little bit. And I feel like
Yep.
your channel kind of sat through that whole thing. Was that strange to you? Like, did you ever have the intuition to make videos more catered to the underground or anything?
I kind of did for a while. I made videos about like X. I made a lot of videos about X and Peep and like that sort of scene, but I mean, they're just gone. Like most of, unfortunately, the biggest SoundCloud rappers are dead,
Yeah,
and the
which
ones
is
who are
insane.
left, yeah, it is kind of like sad that they all like a lot of the SoundCloud rappers are dead, and then the ones who are like alive are the guys who were like on the B team back then, like Ski and like Denzel. Obviously, Denzel's art is amazing, but he was on the B team for like the South Florida SoundCloud scene, and
That
SoundCloud scene
whole
as a
Raider
whole.
Clan scene was kind of on the beat. It was kind of like X and and like the rest of Raider Clan, the rest of members only.
Yeah, so that was like, I mean, they just don't have a lot of them don't have careers anymore, and so it's over. And like corporate hip hop is everything now. Like the biggest rappers are like the Baby and Lil Baby and like fucking Lil Durk. Like they're corporate rap. They're not underground. They're totally owned by labels, and they never were really under. I mean, they may have made mixtapes, but like it's just not what it was at all. A lot of it has gone back to like regional stuff too, like Chicago fucks with Chicago. New York has New York again, and like I don't know. I mean, the underground is like dead. Like it kind of like I mean, it sucks a little bit, but like I don't want to be someone who just like looks back and is like, "Yo, 2017, that was the year, man," because it's 2021 and 2017 was like 4 years ago. So you know, I'm gonna try and see what's up next. Like I'm supposed to fly to Chicago in a couple weeks to work with like our a collective over there, and then I'm like talking to some guys in Internet Money to go fly out to LA and like make a documentary with them and like looking for what's next. But I think in general, hip hop is kind of like, in my opinion, hip hop is like a little bit dead right now because they're the guys who've been famous for the last 10 years. They've been on top of the game for like 10 years. There's like Drake, Kendrick, like Kanye, kind of J. Cole. None of them have made any good music in like years. Um, or they're just gone. And all the new generation from like 4 years ago is dead. And then the new generation right now is like extremely corporate, like sellout music. So like Lil Baby and Lil Baby is good. The Baby is like terrible music. I don't know how he's so popular. Like Migos are washed. They don't make music anymore. Like people that everyone thought was gonna get big, like No Name and like Saba and Smino, like those people either
Didn't
don't make
get
music
big.
anymore or they're
Yeah.
just like washed up, like they don't make good stuff. Like Chance the Rapper is like gone. I think it kind of sucks that like I've thought that my channel grows slower now because there's no one to talk about and like no news and people, there's just no one that's like popping right now. And if they are, it's like Polo G, who like, what am I going to say about him? He makes the same song every time. And like fucking who else, like Lil TJ. I'm friends with Lil TJ's manager, and I was gonna do like a documentary with him, but I don't know what to say. And like stuff like that, I just don't know what to say. Like, and I don't want to turn into like a boomer because I'm 21, so that would suck. So I'm trying not to be like, oh, rap used to be better. I just think it's like, wait, like something better is on the way, but it's just not here yet.
It's in a really weird spot. I agree with you. It's kind of like a crossroad.
It has to be, yeah. I mean, I go on like hip hop heads on Reddit, and there's nothing ever on the front page. It's always
No.
just people like posting old songs. There's no one that's like, people are like, yo, this guy's up next. Like, even like Injury Reserve, remember them? Like, one of
Yeah.
their guys
Well,
died, and they
Grog's
just
died.
stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just stopped making music.
Grog's
I think,
passed away.
and I think another big thing is like Pop Smoke was gathering steam to like be
Oh
the
my God.
next
Yeah.
massive rapper, and he didn't even get to the point where like X got to, where he comes out of nowhere with this insane voice and then everyone becomes obsessed with him. Pop Smoke made one mixtape while he was alive and then got shot, and they made like two more albums or whatever. X got at least got like a couple projects out and was able to like experience some of his success. But I only heard of Pop Smoke like 3 months before he died. He had like 4 songs out that people were on like on Spotify or whatever, and he's dead. So I just think like no one has come to like replace anybody that died or like disappeared. And then there's just really nothing going on.
And I think that's the sad thing too, is like when you look at where hip hop is and look at where people would have thought it would have been in 2021, maybe in 2017, where they thought it would have been, it's really because of death. Like
Yeah.
death has really changed everything. Like if let's say if Juice World, X, Peep, and Pop Smoke were all still alive, the landscape would be vastly different,
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah. I mean, drill music would be bigger. Like King Von too. I started listening to him like a month before he died because he had just put an album out, and I thought he was great. I was like, yo, this guy sounds like X. He's got the drill beats. He's got the great like crazy stories in his music, and like I was really loving everything King Von is doing. And then I like wake up one day and it's like King Von in critical condition, shot in Atlanta, and I'm like, holy fuck, dude, is this like a
Again,
joke or
yeah.
something? And I like, you know, I don't know. I mean, Pop Smoke was so young. I think Pop Smoke he was like born 3 or 4 months before me. And that was like when he died, I was like, holy fuck. Like this isn't even like X was like a couple years older than me. Like Juice WRLD was a couple years older than me. But I was like, holy shit, like this guy is my age. And he just like had a career for 2 months and then died. And I was just like, dude, I don't know. Hip hop is like going in this weird direction.
I think drill is like the best example of like like even like the a fragment of like an idea of like where the next step could be. But like you were saying, like a lot of those guys just don't have the voices because their figurehead unfortunately died so young. Like for example, let's say like Rowdy Rebel or like
Like 5
yeah, 504 guys like that, like names like that, they just don't have the platform yet. Or even like what Lil TJ tried to do on State of Emergency, like his last album was kind of drill, but well, actually not really. He kind of just put a bunch of drill features on it, but it's
I
like
love that project, but it's not a Pop Smoke project. So
really
I don't think it's gonna like hit that hard for people.
that project, like for me, I really didn't enjoy it, and I think it was just because it felt like Lil TJ was trying to make drill music without really making drill music. Maybe that's just me
Yeah,
though.
he's like, I think he thinks of himself as like a singer, so he wants to like sing. But I mean, it kind of sucks. Like, I mean, even where I live in Philly, like nobody's like made anything like good. There's a couple. Actually, no, no one's making anything good. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. No one's making anything good here. And I just think like it sucks because a lot of the streams have just like drifted to like one person because all the different scenes in hip hop are like suffering. So a lot of like it's just like Pop Smoke dies, his fans didn't go disperse to like mess with and like support 5EO. They didn't go to TJ. They didn't go to like a Boogie with the hoodie. It's just they're all just people still streaming Pop Smoke, and he's dead, and there's no more music coming. So his scene is just like dead with him, and it kind of like sucks because that's I don't know. I mean, who's the hope for hip hop? Like the guys from Atlanta, like Gunna and like Lil Baby, and
Oh,
but they've been around for a while now, so
yeah.
they're not about to get bigger than they already are because they've already made like 10 albums each, like 10 mixtapes in the last few years. So they've got as much exposure as they really can. It kind of sucks, but I guess I can just hope that in a few years or like this year or next year, hip hop will like come back.
Maybe if I ever make like some kind of a guess, there is a little bit of an underground in Chicago, but that too is also like very secluded. Actually, do you are you interested in local music at all? Like in Philly, like smaller musicians in Philly at all?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a couple rappers that live in my neighborhood that I like talk to. There's this dude Joe 8 Ball. I think his music isn't on Spotify anymore because he's that kind of guy. But this dude Joe 8 Ball, and I like love his music. I want to see if his music's still up. Yeah, it actually is. Some of his songs are still up, but he has like 70 monthly listeners. So
Oh,
he's not about to pop, but he's really good. And like if I could support him and like make him pop, I would. But that's like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's like my local perspective. There's a couple other rappers. There's this guy Leaf Ward from Philly, but
mhm.
he's got a lot of got a lot of haters, so I don't know what I should say about him or what I shouldn't. But
Yeah, I
move
was
forward
talking
instead.
to a musician from Philly yesterday. I was talking to Shamir, if you know who that is.
No, I don't.
Um,
What's how
yeah,
do you spell
he
that?
Shamir. He makes like such a wide variety of music. He makes like country. He's made like pop. He's made like R&B, all kinds of stuff. But he's been around for a while. But he's from Philly.
Oh yeah, yeah. He has a son. That's where I live.
Oh yeah,
I shouldn't dox myself like
yeah.
that.
We'll loop that part out too. Um,
Yeah.
were you living in Philly at the time Uzi came out?
No, I wasn't.
You were,
Uzi,
yeah.
Philly's music is like weird, man. People here, at least where I live, don't really support Philly. Like, no one cares about Meek. No one likes PNB Rock. No one likes Uzi here. Like,
That's sad.
yeah. Well, Meek is like banned. Apparently, people
Yeah.
like banned Meek from the city because he said something that people didn't like. So, but yeah, I mean, Uzi. I think a lot of people do fuck with Uzi, but not like in his own neighborhood. I think it's more like the people who like live downtown and stuff like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. When you moved to Philly, how did that affect your art? Did you find you were more inspired to make videos living in Philly?
Uh, I wouldn't say necessarily so. I live in when I moved here, I didn't have a lot of money because my channel wasn't making a lot of money because it was a lot smaller. So I live in like a neighborhood that's not gentrified or artistic. It's like um I I don't know. I have bars on my windows. I was trying to see how to explain where I live. I have bars on my windows and I have guns. So uh, it's definitely like I like my neighbors, but there's a lot to.
Yeah, makes sense. In that vein, one thing I want to ask you about was your experience working as a janitor
Yeah.
when you were trying to make ends meet. What was that like? Did that inspire you to like work harder at all?
Yeah, I mean, I come from like a blue collar family, so I've been working labor for a long time. Um and I would say it did inspire me to work harder, but I also really liked it. It was like like I was doing YouTube half the time and I was doing the janitor the other half of the time. So with YouTube, one of the drawbacks is that you spend a lot of time alone on the computer. Um and so that can get tiring. So it was really fun to go to work. um Eventually though, I just had a bad manager at one of my locations, so I quit. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna make YouTube work somehow.
Could you like listen to music and stuff while you're doing it, or were you just like doing it like in silence?
Oh well, I would do whatever the fuck I wanted to do because I didn't really like take I don't really take jobs that seriously, like, which is a bad thing, but I would go to work and like bring my laptop and write videos in the classrooms because I worked at like a high school. So I would like do my work really fast. I would like fucking fast forward and do that shit as quick as I could. And then I would go in the classroom, like lock myself in the room and like write a video and eat dinner on the clock. Which is then like that's probably why I ended up getting in a lot of trouble and why I quit my job because they were like yelling at me all the time. But I was like, I got to do what I got to do, man. I'm not gonna sit around here and like be on my phone or like smoke cigarettes or some shit outside. Like I'm gonna work.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, I get that at that point. Yeah, when I started Above the Bridge, I was working at a movie theater, and I would go and I'd write articles and stuff on my phone,
Yeah,
like in
yeah,
theaters and stuff.
that's the
Um,
way, bro.
yeah, it is. Outside of music, you seem like a kind of thoughtful guy. Like you seem like you think a lot, I guess is how I would say. So I was wondering, what like other forms of media do you consume? Do you read a lot?
I do read mostly. I don't really consume media too much because I think it's like in our world today, we do a lot of media consumption and it is alienating, to say the least. So I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't really watch TV shows anymore. I watch some YouTube, but like mostly my friends' videos. And I read books like nonfiction, fiction sometimes. Mostly I just like work on my motorcycle though. I have a motorcycle that I got and I'm like trying to ride it to California this summer. So trying to get that like ready. It's really like what I do most of the time.
What are you trying to do in Cali when you come here?
I'm trying to visit my uncle who lives in um I don't know, he lives like north of San Francisco. And I'm also trying to go to Death Valley.
I live north of San Francisco. Well,
We'll
well,
do a meetup, bro.
yeah, it's good. With your second channel, when you one thing too that you've kind of expressed interest in the past is like politics. Is that an angle you want to go at with your second channel? Like, would you like to like talk about social issues or stuff like that?
I think so. However, I'm a little bit tired of online politics. Like everybody is ready to cancel everybody over everything, and no one's actually doing anything good for the world online with politics. So I think I might get involved in real life politics instead of like internet stuff. Because I just think like, I don't want to be analyzed on Twitter. I'd rather like help people.
That Twitter thing is like so bad. Like it's such a poor way to try to communicate a actual opinion. Like how can you be expressed or how can you be expected to talk about and express these like abstract and very like extremely complicated ideas in like 280 characters or whatever they give you? It's just not possible.
It's impossible. It's ridiculous. I don't like, yeah, I don't want to put my political opinions out there. I'm not the most politically out there person, but I just don't want to have to argue with people on the internet, you know?
Just
So
not.
I
It's like
think
not worth it.
there are also social issues that matter to me, but I'm not going to pretend that like I care about every political problem in this country because they don't all affect me. Like, I think it's expected on the internet that you have to like, you have to like give a platform to everything that's going wrong, but I don't really feel like I have to, because it's like I don't care if there's like a puppy drowning in Wisconsin. Like it's not my puppy, bro. There are things I care about. I care about like wealth inequality. That matters to me a lot. And like I care about the homelessness problem and the violence problem in America. But I'm not going to go out there and be like rioting for things that just have no relation to me, because it's taking away energy that I could give to other things and making me a less effective person. I think a lot of people do that. They like riot for everything and they want to like go out there and like get angry about every single thing that goes wrong in the world when it really, you can't help it. You're just posting on Instagram.
A lot of it also doesn't seem like genuine anger. Like a lot of it seems like a kind of, I don't know if this is the right word, but almost like a facade. Like it's like, oh, I
Yeah.
want to, I really want people to think I'm caring about this, but in reality, I just want, I'm not very interested in it.
Yeah. I have a friend who's like, he got like that. He was like posting on Instagram every day about like what's going wrong in Bhutan, what's going wrong in Cambodia, what's going wrong in Colombia. I'm like, it sucks, but never has there been a point in history when we obsessed over things that have nothing to do with us and tried to make everyone aware of it. Why should we start doing this right now? Like, it doesn't really get us anywhere. So yeah, I'm not really into that.
Yeah, I get that. Because I mean, like what you were saying, it's like if the point is to solve the problem and we physically cannot help solve the problem, there's no point in spreading that
Yeah, I mean,
negativity, I guess, because we can't do anything about it.
I'm not saying I don't want to know what's going on in the world. I care about
Yeah,
geopolitics. I read the news, but like, I don't want all my friends to tell me about everything that's going wrong in the world all the time. And like, I also don't want to just be that kind of person online, like, here's a care about fucking I don't know, workers' rights in Venezuela. Like, unless our government's going to do something about it, which they're not, why are we all like screaming about it all the time?
I get it. Do you have any intention of ever moving to LA? Or do you feel pretty set in Philly doing what you're doing? Like, do you want to be somewhere where you can have more industry connections?
Oh, I've been to LA a few times and I found it useful, but I don't know. LA is not really that like interesting to me. I did like the climate and I did like some of the neighborhoods. So I actually can see myself living there. And I think I would probably make more money if I lived there. But I don't really like California. I don't like the fires. I don't like all the smoke in the air. The air quality like sucks. Um, but overall, like it's definitely in the cards. I'm probably moving out of Philly this year, going to like Austin or something. So LA could be like the next step after that.
That makes sense. Why do you think you make more money if you were in LA?
Um, well, I would have more access to like production resources. I would have more access to like people to collab with. Um, I could probably find, I don't know, I think that would be a big part of it. And just like being in a place where everyone is doing something similar to what I'm doing, or like being in a place where I could be around other YouTubers. Cause I only have like 2 YouTube friends in Philly. And I know like 50 people in LA. So um I could also start like working with artists and stuff. You know, I could like set up a Volksgeist studio and like have rappers come through to be on in videos and stuff like that. And I know people like managers and stuff who would have their rappers come through if I did that. So it's definitely like I could, but the West Coast is kind of weird. So like the people and stuff are weird.
Yeah, I get that. I live here and I get that. Do you ever
Yeah.
have the intention to make Volksgeist more of like a journalistic thing in the sense that you do things like interviews or work with artists more directly?
Well, I think that I kind of have my own like artistic vision. So I don't know if I want to become the next like Adam 22 or the next like Fantano, because I have things that I want to make, like movies or projects or like music. So it's definitely not like if I could just, if like the opportunity came up and I could just like start that up and it would just work, probably, but I don't think I would like seek it out and like try to make it my passion or something, because it's really not.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, where do you think the future of video essays is in terms of like, do you think the art form is growing? Do you think it's a dying genre? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I think all video essayists will realize at some point or another that they are not going to enjoy it forever, because it's a pretty limiting format. It can be very moving, emotionally, like expressive. It can be very like it can be great. But I think that people do realize after a while that you're just talking about stuff. You're just talking about stuff, and you really have to like change it up. And I think a lot of video essayists that exist now will want to become more personal, and they'll want to have their name out there more. They're going to want like the benefits of personal celebrity. So they'll start making their video essays more personal. And I do think it's kind of like there's not that much more room for video essayists. I don't think the format is like good enough for there to be like another 5 or 10 people with as many subscribers as I have. Not to be like, not to, I don't know, not to be like prideful. I just don't think that people are willing to watch this sort of stuff that many times over. You know, there's like only that many documentaries you can make about Tyler the Creator. Like he has only made like 5 albums. You can't make like 50 million documentaries about the same person. So
Do you think like short form content like TikTok is almost like kind of filling that void in the sense that people aren't as interested in long form educational content?
I do think about that, because a lot of people I talk to have experienced like a dip in views since like this year when TikTok got extremely popular. So I think that's totally possible, and I have even experienced like a dip in views, like, and but my TikToks are doing really well. So it's kind of like it's definitely possible. I'm trying to like make my videos shorter so people's like crappy attention spans won't get triggered when they're watching me.
When did you get on TikTok?
I got on TikTok like 2 months ago. I made a few and they all went viral. And then I deleted the app because I was watching it too much. And I was like, I'm not even getting paid for these videos. So I'm just going to stop making them. But then I got back on. I'm going to be making like a weekly TikTok probably.
Are you making like video essay content formatted for TikTok?
Yeah, basically, I just take a video already made, condense the script into like 150 words, read it as fast as possible, and then make little graphics for it. Yeah, it takes like 2 hours.
Oh, that's interesting. Because that's like I feel like there's actually a big space for like edited content on TikTok that people haven't really filled yet. Like it's all been like that very like quick attention grabbing style of content, which is still very important on TikTok because the whole essence of the app works. But I think if you can do that educationally and people care about it.
Yeah, I think I can see that like a TikTok like mine, or maybe mine if I work hard enough at it, could probably get to like 1 million followers, because it's also just really easy to grow on TikTok. Because a lot of people on TikTok are like a little younger. Like I feel like my YouTube audience is like 18 to 24, but then my TikTok audience is probably like 14 to 19. So those people don't really know about video essays, because video essays came about like 3 years ago. So a lot of people watching them are in college or just out of college. There's not really a lot of high schoolers in my audience now at this point. Um, so the TikTok like kids could get really into it when they don't even know that I'm a YouTuber. Honestly, I think.
That's actually interesting. Like you almost could like pass that kind of content onto a new platform that would then get those people interested. And that TikTok thing of people being young is like so true. Like I'm a waiter at a restaurant, and the other day I was working and I was serving a table, and it was like a family with like 3 or 4 kids, and these kids were probably 4, 5 at the oldest. All 3 of them were sitting on their phone, all using TikTok, all
Oh,
scrolling
bro.
through it. And it just kind of got me thinking. I was like, what is the actual average age of this app? Because they're because they are not going to list it as like 10 years old, but is that like the actual average age? Like that would
I
be
think so.
crazy.
I think absolutely. It's pretty young. Which kind of like is weird. I wouldn't let my kid use TikTok. I got banned from TikTok temporarily because they said I had like sexual content in a video. Because I like had the Astroworld cover. It was like someone's ass on it. And then I like went on TikTok to appeal the ban. And the first thing I see is this guy two turn Tony who just has his like he only wears underwear and just like pours wine on himself. And I'm like, yo, my God, like I got banned from this app for putting the Astroworld cover up. And then they somehow let this guy like in his fucking underwear with his dick out. Like come on, like pour wine on him. I don't know. It's definitely
That's
young as fuck.
that's just Tony. It's just a
I know, bro. That's
you
what he
got to keep
does.
that guy on the app. You can't ban that fool. He's an icon.
Yeah, no, bro. Oh yeah. I'm about to get so I am gonna have to go because I ordered an Amazon package to the wrong address. So I have to go intercept it before someone picks it up. Um
You're good. Last final thing I want to ask you.
yeah.
What's the end goal for Volksgeist?
I want to have a team of animators. Like if there were three of me, the animations would be amazing. Uh and then I also want to do like bigger, like I want to make in the next like month or two, I want to make a video called like why do we like smooth jazz? And I want to go deep into it. I want to talk to musicologists, I want to talk to musicians, I want to talk to like journalists, and I want to find out like the music theory and the psychology of like smooth jazz. I want to like put people on to all these insane old smooth jazz things I listen to. The idea is that I want to make videos so good and so well produced that it won't matter if the topic is about something no one's ever heard of, because they're coming for me to like see what I can possibly like expose about this and like write about this topic. So that's like my main priority right now is like coming up with a way to make the videos so interesting that I'll get 200,000 views, even if it's about something that no one has ever heard of before. So it's definitely like a tough challenge, but I think it's like the next step to creating like a long-term career.
Wow. Like exposing people to things they have never heard about before or seen before.
Yeah. Yeah. In a way that is actually interesting to them because most people don't really care if they're going to be like, oh, whatever, like I'm not going to watch that. But if I'm talking about it in a really interesting way, people will be like, oh, yeah, that's like totally cool. And there are some YouTubers that can do stuff like that. Like Adam Neely can make a video about anything and people will watch it. So I kind of want to access that level of like quality and I guess entertainment.
Yeah, man, and I think we'll get there. I mean, I'm excited to see it. Thank you so
Hopefully.
much for sitting down with me and having this conversation. I think we touched on a lot of stuff. I think it was really good.
Yeah, man. Of course. Of course. Yeah. I appreciate you like being a great interviewer.
Thank you. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'm a big admirer of your work and I cannot wait to see what you do next.
Thanks, man. When do you think this video will go up?
Probably tomorrow or the day after that. Probably by the end of the weekend.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I will put it in the description of like just send it to me and I'll put it in whatever video I upload next.
For sure, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And I appreciate you sitting down. This is like I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank
All
you,
right,
man.
Philip. Great to meet you.
Yeah, take it easy.
You too, man.